Hi, I'm Ross Benjamin reporting for the Offshore Gaming Association. That's OSGA.com, your number one source for information on the offshore sportsbook industry. That's OSGA.com. I'm going to be taking a look at some AFC teams that currently have losing records, aren't mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, and that I believe personally will create some havoc for other teams either vying for home field advantage in the upcoming playoffs or teams that are contending for a wild card spot in the AFC. And at a time of year when everybody's predicting who's going to make it, what teams are favored to win the Super Bowl, who's going to be the conference champions, we're going to go in a little bit of a different direction here. Let's start with the New York Jets. This is a team that's currently 5-7 on the year. However, the Jets have covered in 8 of their 12 contests this year. New York has also been an underdog in 11 of their 12 games this season. The only exception came against the now winless Cleveland Browns in a game they were a 1.5-point favorite on the road and snuck out a 17-14 win. Now the Jets, they started 0-2 straight up in ATS. They lost their opening game at Buffalo, failing to cover in that contest, and then were totally blown out in their second game of the season at Oakland. Since that time, the Jets have gone 5-5 straight up and covered on 8 of those 10 occasions. And the effort level throughout the year for the New York Jets has been exceptional, considering the talent they put on the field. Remind you, this is a team that many believed was tanking by some of their personnel or lack thereof personnel moves before the season started. And many, or I shouldn't say many, a few experts even went out on a limb and said that the Jets would finish 0-16. It's been a far cry from that. When you look at the Jets down the stretch, this week they're at Denver, a Denver team that's lost 8 straight games, somewhere around a pick 'em to -1. I would forget about that. Let's look at their next 3 games, which is at New Orleans, hosting the LA Chargers, and at the New England Patriots to finish the season. The Jets, unless something unforeseen occurs, will be underdogs in all 3 of those contests, and it might be worth your while to take a shot with them on 1, possibly even 2 of those contests as an underdog. The next team I want to take a look at is the Cincinnati Bengals. Unlike the New York Jets, this is a team on paper that is vastly superior from a talent perspective and was expected to vie for a playoff spot in the AFC. Now that very well may still occur. Cincinnati is 5-7, most likely going to need to win out, and then they're going to need some help from other teams along the way in order to qualify for the postseason parade. They've covered 7 of 12 games this season. Similar to the Jets, Cincinnati opened the season 0-2 straight up in ATS. Unlike the Jets, both of those games were at home, and the Bengals were favorites in both of those contests, losing to Baltimore 20-0, and also losing to the Houston Texans 13-9. After scoring just a combined 9 points in those 2 contests, the Bengals fired offensive coordinator Ernie Zampese, and since that time, they've gone 5-5 straight up, and they've also covered in 7 of those 10 contests. Now, this is a Bengals team coming off a disheartening loss last Monday night at home against Pittsburgh, in a game they held a 17-0 lead late in the second quarter, only to squander it to their bitter rival and lose on a last-second field goal by Chris Boswell, 23-20 in favor of Pittsburgh. But the Bengals were able to cover as a 4.5-point underdog. This is a team that will be in 2 prime underdog situations, both being on the road in the final 4 weeks of the year. Next Sunday, a week from this coming Sunday, I should say, they'll be at Minnesota, and probably better than a touchdown underdog in that contest. And then they close the year at Baltimore. Baltimore currently sitting second in the AFC wildcard standings with a 7-5 record. That game might have some playoff implications. If it doesn't, the Bengals would like nothing more than spoil Baltimore's postseason hopes, being that they're a division rival. So keep an eye on the Cincinnati Bengals down the stretch. The last team I'm going to take a look at might surprise a few of you because they've been so erratic. The Miami Dolphins, 5-7 straight up, identical record to both Cincinnati and the Jets. On the other hand, not good as far as against the spread. 4-6-2 against the spread this season. They are coming off a decisive win last week, winning at home. And this is a team, if Jay Cutler's healthy, could be a dangerous underdog because there is talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball and at the wide receiver position for the Miami Dolphins. Their last 4 games, all against either teams that will be in the playoffs or are vying for a playoff spot. They take on New England on Monday night. They'll also play Buffalo twice. 2 weeks from now, they'll play the Bills on the road. They'll be an underdog in that contest. They'll be an underdog this coming Monday night against New England, and then they close the year, the second last game of the year, they travel to Kansas City, and they'll be an underdog in that contest. So at the very least, I'm looking at the Dolphins being underdogs in 3 of their last 4 contests, and I would keep an eye on Miami and at least look to use them one time. A perfect spot might be at Kansas City, as the Kansas City Chiefs right now, as you well know, are struggling terribly, having lost 5 of their last 6 games. That's it. We're going to take a look at the Jets, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Miami Dolphins in the last 4 weeks of the season, and look to isolate them when they're a road or home underdog in any of their remaining games. They can be very dangerous in those spots. And my name is Ross Benjamin. You can find me at rbwins.com. That's where you can purchase all the games I personally wager on myself, as well as my paying clients receive. You can call me direct, 781-571-0299. I employ no salespeople. You'll talk to me and me only. And again, that's 781-571-0299. If you mention to me you heard me on this video, I'll give you 20% off a subscription package of your choice. That's 781-571-0299. Until the next time, good luck with all your picks.